Well, hello and aloha, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Modern Marketing Channel. My name is Chauntel Busche, the founder and CEO of Modern Marketing. And today I have my very lovely, fun, exciting business partner, friend, and again, I'm going on down the line of all the goodness that she is to me in my heart, and most of all, my dear friend, Miss Deborah Daniel. Deborah is the founder and CEO of Charter Accounting, and she's also the founder of the Women's Wealth Secrets Movement. And I didn't want to forget any of those major words in that. And so forgive me for looking down and reading that, but I just wanted to make sure that I got that right, because I mean, I want to hear everything about you. Start from the beginning. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. Well, we're going to need a longer time.
But I want to mostly know, Deborah, you being the entrepreneur and the businesswoman that you are, giving circumstances that are happening today. And I don't want to give anything too much in a negative light, but I want you to tell people how you've been navigating through this time with your personal life and your business. Tell us what has changed and what you've decided to do.
Right. Well, the thing is, I am always the glass half full person. I mean, that's just the way I'm wired. I think biologically people are inclined towards the positive, the negative. I am inclined towards the positive. But I will tell you, these past couple of weeks have lent me even to feel a little bit negative. So I feel bad for people that already have a negative bend in their personality a little bit. But the thing is, I think what we have to do is really take this as an opportunity to, I took it as an opportunity to kind of look at where was I in my business? Where was I in my life? I mean, because the thing is, it's easy to make money in business like it has been for the past 4 or 5 years. I mean, everything's gangbusters, stock market up, multi-digit percentages, it's up. I mean, it's easy to make money when things are rocking and rolling like that. But I've been in business for 27 years. So I've seen highs and I've seen lows. I've been through 2000 and 2001. I've been through 2008. But this is a weird bird. This was very different. And I'm hoping that as I'm speaking that things are improving, because here in Georgia, we're opening back up later this week. I get to have a nail appointment. I'm super excited about that.
Let me just tell everybody, listen, people, you see the dents in my nails? It's not cute. It's not cute.
Exactly. But I just don't think we realize how much freedom we had, how much things, I mean, that's getting me off on a whole nother tangent. I mean, my personal care has been really neglected during this. But from a business perspective, I think we really have to focus on what I've been saying to all my clients. We've got to make lemonade out of this lemons. And we have gotten some positive things that have come out of this. If you took this time while you were kind of either not able to work as much or your clients weren't able to work with you as much, to look at your systems and your processes, because like I was saying, when things are going gangbusters, you can do okay without the systems and the processes. But when things ratchet back, when all of a sudden the money isn't flowing in quickly and all of a sudden you have to do things differently, you have to really stare in the face, oh my gosh, we don't have a system for this. I mean, I'm not talking about the disinfecting your office every time somebody came in. I mean, my poor assistant, before we had shelter in place, was getting carpal tunnel from cleaning the doorknob every time somebody came in. So finally we adjusted our schedule, because we are considered an essential service, because we do payroll for people. So we've still been coming in the whole time. Is we have clients, there's a sign on the door. I got this idea actually from my vet, because my dog needed something and they made us come to the parking lot and they took the dog from us and took it into the veterinarian hospital and brought her back out. We did the exact same thing with tax returns. So if people wanted to pick up their return or if they wanted to drop their stuff off, they called from the parking lot. Me or my assistant, mostly my assistant, thank goodness, ran out to get their stuff. I mean, and we were disinfecting it as it came in, and we were just keeping the space, a little bit cleaner, versus when people were coming in, we had to keep cleaning it. I mean, that's hopefully something we won't have to do forever. I mean, hopefully we're going to get past all that. But, and we've been virtual for a long time anyway. We had a portal for clients. We have clients all around the country, but just, it was kind of I miss seeing all the clients because, I mean, this was a time of year that we had people coming in, we'd catch up with them. I mean, I literally have some clients that I've been doing for 27 years. I mean, I'm doing their kids now. I mean, it's crazy. I'm multi-generational. But I really miss seeing the clients the most, but it was seamless to the clients. Actually, their work was getting done. I mean, we're getting it done just as fast as possible. And I'm looking at this as an opportunity to actually expand on my clients because, one, of course, the procrastinators, which there always are those, as soon as they heard July 15th, I mean, they're like AWOL right now. So we will be busy again, you know, around the 4th of July, which really is weird for me because usually this ends.
Yeah, you're done already by that time.
I know, exactly. I mean, on a cellular level, I'm kind of like out of sorts a little bit.
Summer. You're supposed to be in summer.
Exactly. I was supposed to be getting my after tax season, you know, spa day and massage. One, there were no spas or massages open, and it's really not over. But so I'm looking at it as an opportunity to, well, one, I've been so busy with all this, you know, PPP and SBA and all that kind of stuff, the money for businesses. So we've gotten really involved with clients and helping them with that. And the good news is I think we're on the verge of Congress actually extending the amount of money. So if you haven't already done that program, you definitely need to jump on it, right?
Nice.
I mean, they're still going to have that, but I'm looking at it as an opportunity to reach out to more people and expand my client base. Because I will tell you one thing that came out of this isolation, quarantine, whatever we've been in, is I very much cemented a thought that I've had for a while. I only want to do business with people that I want to do business with. You know, I mean, it became people's true colors kind of came out during this, you know, a little bit. And I'm opening up my availability to people that I am more personally involved with, that I've been networking with, that maybe I did not make very clear, hey, I want to work with you. I'm going to reach out to those people more so and say, hey, I want to work with you, instead of letting them kind of come to me. And to do that, sometimes you have to make space in your client base for that. And so I've kind of gone through in this time and said, who are the people that I don't want to work with anymore? And so I think that's what you could be doing during this time is really evaluating where you are, where you want to be, what parts are missing, what parts are really working. I mean, I think that's what everybody should be doing right now until we're back to business as usual.
Yes. And you know, you've made so many great points already in such a short amount of time on this video. And this is why I wanted you on here. And what's great about the industry that you're a part of is that you're constantly working with business owners, and not just the business owners. You're constantly working just with every type of American that is out there in all the circumstances and situations. So let me ask you this. This is a two-part question.
Okay.
So the first part of the question is, what advice can you give to the non-business owners out there during this season in your vertical, with your professional advice? What kind of like golden nuggets can you give to them?
Okay, great. That is an excellent question, because I do work a lot with individuals, and that's a little bit what the Women's Wealth Secrets kind of movement is part of, because I do think it's more than just the business owner. It's more than just the how do we keep more of the money with the taxes. I have a more holistic approach. How do we make more money, keep more money, and then grow your money? And the grow your money part is, how do we take our money and invest it? How do we make more bang for the buck? I mean, you know, you have $1 and you've got a million different places you can spend it. Where are the best places to spend it? Well, so that's another thing I think people should be doing, individuals should be doing right now, is one, look at you're at home. If you can't go to work, you have more extra time. Look, and this is one thing that I have clients when they first start working with me, whether it's a business or a personal, we got to close the leaks in our budgets, right? I mean, if you are making great money, which I see a lot, I'm in a fairly affluent part of Atlanta, people are making a ton of money, then they come to me and there's no interest, no dividends, no K1s for investments or whatever. Where are they spending all their money? I mean, and that's the thing. People are getting great income, but they're not looking at what they're doing with their money, right? So let's close up the gaps first, close up those leaks. And so whether you're a business owner or an individual, I have people when they first start working with me, let's look at the last 3 months or even 6 months of your business and personal banking accounts, of your credit cards. Let's look at where's the money going. And then I have them kind of highlight the different kind of categories. And when you see that, like the pink is, eating out, and they're spending, gobs and I love to eat out, believe me. I am dying to go to a restaurant and pay somebody a tip right now. I want to give someone a tip for serving me so bad. But if you're looking at every other charge that you do is eating out, you might want to look at that, and if you say, well, I don't have $200 a month to invest, Deborah, or to start working for my retirement or contribute or whatever. Well, let's look at what you're spending your money on. Just from a fact of, I used to love Starbucks. It was just a habit. I would stop on the way to work every single day and get a Starbucks, and I would get one for my husband. So we were looking at $10 or $12 a day, grabbing a Starbucks. Well, that equals, $10 a day times 5.
They call that the latte factor. I think
exactly.
And
so don't say that you don't have money to do the things that you need to do to start saving for your kids' education, to start saving for your retirement, until you've looked at where you're spending your money. And I'm not judging if you want to spend your money on, getting a Starbucks every day. That's great. But don't tell me that you don't have money to do the things that are important until you've looked at that. Right.
Yes. That's awesome. That's great advice. And I 100% agree with you. And then, so now for those business owners, and there's business owners of all sizes. And sometimes when you're a business owner, a lot of things apply to no matter what level you're at in that role. And then sometimes when you hit certain brackets, things start changing for you. Let's go just through 3 brackets, shall we? Let's start off with maybe the startup or the smaller business, go to the medium, and maybe some of the larger corporations, and some advice that you can give for each of those.
Right. Well, the things that you do to get to $50,000 in revenue are not the same things that you do to get to 500,000, to get to 7 figures. Obviously, some of the main things are, you've got to know who your customer is. I think this is where people miss the boat, no matter what size of business they are. You have to make sure that you're solving really what I call a wake up in the morning kind of, problem. That's where the real sweet spot is of truly making money in your business, is something that people absolutely need, that's going to either, and I find that people are more motivated by things that are going to be better for them in life than taking something away that's bad for them, right? So solving some kind of a need that's going to improve their life, that they have the time and the effort and the money to spend with you, and the interest to do it. Because the thing is, I'll use just for my own example. This is a little before I really met you, Chauntel, but I've lost almost 60 pounds over the past, since last June.
Oh, I've seen pictures.
But the thing is, why all of a sudden was it a priority for me? It wasn't like I hadn't looked at those things. I've basically been heavy since I had kids. My oldest one is 20, almost 22. Oh my God. And I just don't even believe it. But what was the difference? Of course I knew that I needed to eat, healthier, that I needed to work out, I needed to do all those things. But what changed? My interest level changed. I was going to be speaking at a big conference, and I didn't want to be heavy. And I personally am a big believer in longevity. I think that if we are alive now, there's a really good chance you could live to be 90 or 100 years old. And so I was like, well, hey, if I'm going to be walking around in this case, for another 40 or 50 years, I want to shore up the case a little bit. But the thing is, I had been approached many, many times about, this program or this product or that product on weight loss and health or whatever. I had the money to spend it. So just because your customer has the money doesn't mean they have the interest, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So you've got to make sure that all those things are in alignment. They have the money, they have the interest, they have the time, and and it's something that you can actually help them with. And I think that's where people miss the boat, because you can, scream from the mountaintops, forever if you don't have something that people really want. And I think people spend a lot of time trying to shove a round peg into a square hole, or whatever the saying goes, trying to sell something that people aren't really interested in. That's what really you got to come back to basics on.
Yes.
Then once, of course, that's your really, not that I'm a marketing guru, but you don't stay in business for 27 years and not have some kind of market knowledge. But that's the key thing. But then also, okay, what do you do obviously when you're doing $50,000 of revenue, the startup-y kind of business, you can do a lot of that stuff yourself. And you probably are doing a lot of that stuff yourself. You still are doing the bookkeeping. You still are doing the purchasing. You still are doing all the fulfillment of the actual service that you're doing. I mean, if you're selling a product, you're probably still sticking it in an envelope and shipping it out at 50,000 in revenue. There's not a lot of extra money to pay other people. But then you start getting to six figures. And the tendency that I see, that I've probably been in 27 years, a little bit of a, made this mistake myself, is I could do everything and I could do it faster myself. So I don't want to take time to show somebody how to do it. That's when the whole systems and processes starts coming into place. Because if it can be duplicated, then you need, it needs to be duplicated, and then it can be repeated by anybody. The thing is, even when people get to about that $100,000 mark, I think they do start passing things off, but they don't go the next step, which you need at the next level, which is documenting all of that. Because the thing is, you do get to the $100,000 level, you get one or two key people, you get them 100% trained, and you stop doing it, and then all of a sudden, oh my God, they're gone, and then nothing's documented. You have to start from scratch all over again.
The process has to start
it's all over again. It's literally from scratch. And so that's really, I think, the evolution of that business model is going from the I do it all to I do it all with a few key people, but it's not documented, to the everything is tight and everything is a process and everything is duplicatable.
I love that. That's awesome. Now, here's another thing I wanted to talk to you about too as well. Obviously, you being in business for as long as you have, and successfully in the same thing, especially the entrepreneurs, a lot of times we take a while to find ourselves with it. You know what I mean? Sometimes you try to avoid the thing that you're just meant to do, which I've done all of those things. And for you, what is the thing that keeps you motivated in continuing in the line of business that you're in, and how have you seen yourself transform,
evolve? Sure. Oh, there's been a huge evolution. Come on, 27 years. Literally half of my life, every day, literally this year, I've been in business longer than I've been alive. Half. This year was kind of, you know what I'm saying? Over half of my life has been in business. I will tell you, and I think I've told you the story before and you've laughed about it. I grew up in a time when, it wasn't cool to be, come on, in the 70s and 80s, were women owning businesses? Heck no. But when I was a little kid, I didn't want to play house. I wanted to play office. I've always been interested in this. I've never been interested in, keeping the house up and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, even as a little kid, I was like, I can pay somebody to do that. And I gladly do. But the real evolution has been, and I think that I took a very I was ahead of my time in many, many ways. I still am. But I always treated my business as a business, because especially when you're a professional, like a CPA or a lawyer or whatever, it's a practice. We call it a practice. That's different than a business. But to me, it's always been a business that happens to sell accounting services. That's huge right off the bat, right there, because you're not this, let me sit back and the clients will come. It's not like the Field of Dreams where, if you build it, they will come. I've been marketing since I've owned the business, and this was way back in the early 90s, right? And that was before the internet. I can't even tell you how much money I spent on Yellow Pages ad back in the old days.
I remember I used to sell them to people.
And those were expensive.
And even for back then.
Exactly.
Got in the circulation, it was pricey.
Exactly. Well, everything was expensive back then. When my first computer that I bought in my business in 1992, God, that's so long ago, was for the computer geekies, was like a 486 SX, and I doubled the size to a 66 megahertz or something like that. And I had this huge big monitor that took up like half the, the desk, and it was just horrible. And I spent like $3,000 on that. Back in 1992, that was a lot of money. And that was one computer. The last time I replaced my network, which is like 4 or 5 computers, not including the server, and all new flat panel monitors, all, wireless mouse, wireless keyboard. I didn't even spend $3,000 on 5 or 6 computers. That's how different it is. I didn't have a cell phone when I started my business. I remember I had truly a bag phone. I carried around a bag phone. It's been a really ride over the past 3 decades of business, but how I've kept myself, I feel, fresh in business is, one, I don't just do the numbers. I mean, I would probably blow my brains out if all I was doing was filling out tax returns.
Yeah.
I'm so much more the strategy part of it. My team
Yes.
does a lot of the keying,
Yes.
but the strategy, what does this really mean? I mean, half the time when we're in a tax appointment, I'm not even asking them about their taxes because my team's going to do all that. I'm asking them about, what are you doing for marketing, and what do you do? You know, where's your business going? And really coach. And it's kind of morphed into a little bit more of coaching and mentoring, because there is a certain amount of, you've been to the top of Mount Everest, you know, other people want to see how you got there. And so that's how I've stayed a little bit fresh and interested in it, because it's so much more than the numbers. It's so much more than, I mean, obviously they need my core business, which is the accounting and tax, so that they can even have the data so that I can help them along to the next part. But my passion, where I mean, that's where really where the women's wealth secrets kind of came from, is more that how do we make more, keep more, and grow more? Not just in the make more being, what are your business strategies? What are your sales strategies? You know, how is another way you can look at that and serve your customers differently? The keep more being the, you know, the basics, taxes, bookkeeping, all that kind of stuff. And then the grow more. If you're not creating wealth from your business, you're missing the hugest part, one of the biggest benefits of owning a business.
Yes. And you know what, I'd like to elaborate on the women's wealth, was it women's wealth secrets movement, right? That movement of it. Like, can you talk a little bit more about that, and tell people how it came about, and how it came about, what you're doing with it now? And I'll make sure to put it in the description below as well.
Well, it's actually something that's kind of just coming out, because it became kind of a morphing of, you know, I'm working with, just looking at what is this 27 years, you know, over a quarter of a century of what you've been doing. And when we really look, when I really kind of took that 10,000 foot view, which I think we all need to do in our business, because it's kind of like when you're in a labyrinth, you know, if we were in a labyrinth, you come up against the wall, right? And all you see is right or left. The thing is, if you're up from 10,000 feet, you can kind of see, you know, oh, well, if you turn left here and turn right there, you can see the way out, right? And that's what we have to do in our business. And then when I did that for myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what connects the dots. I mean, and I am not anti-male by any stretch of the means. I love my son. I love my husband. We need that male energy. But I do think now is the time for women. I mean, the Dalai Lama has said that the Western woman will save the world, or I'm not sure that's the exact quote, but I mean, I don't think it's just, but I mean, it's something to do with that. But I think it is really the time now for that woman energy to really roar its head into the business world, because it is a different conversation. We do business differently. We do money differently. I mean, money has a really feminine energy to it. You know, I mean, we as the women are the creators, and I'm not a woo-woo kind of person in everything, if you've ever heard me speak, or if ever, everything is about ROI. You've got to have a return on investment. And that doesn't always mean cash. That means building relationships. Is this somehow buying me time? Is this somehow buying me, even I throw health into that too, because I don't think you can be super, I don't think you can be super successful and not be healthy, you know, because you can't have the energy to do all the stuff you've got to do.
That's right.
But there is a creation that only we as women can do, and I think we need to bring that energy to the business world and to the money world, because what I have observed, I mean, you know, I haven't seen everybody in the whole world, but I have observed a lot of businesses in 27 years. And what I see is, as women, when we make more money, we have bigger impact on our community. I'm not saying that men do not do that, but men tend to internalize their success to their family and their very close relationships. Women, on the other hand, tend to bring their community with them, both from a perspective of their business friends, their children's families, friends. I mean, it's a little bit more of a rising up together. And I think we need to really capitalize on that.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I think that's why even women who are like in direct sales, or like network marketing, or all those things, a lot of times when you see a lot of those big leaders, or the ones that are successful in those types of business, they end up being women a lot of the times too as well, and show us the highest percentage of that when you're talking about something community based.
Right.
And so I totally agree. And another question that I have for you is, what is the importance, and this is going to go for everyone, whether they're a business owner or not a business owner or whatever, what is the importance of having a very diverse portfolio for investments, and you don't have to get specific with
Oh
any.
no, yeah, and I'm not. I mean, because you
But
got to
like,
be careful. I'm not making any investment advice right now. I'm just talking in terms of.
yeah.
But basically, to me, I mean, and this is something that we've had conversations about before, Chauntel.
Yeah.
Everybody gets, I mean, if you've even had the basic finance 101 in college or whatever, or it's just heard it, we know that you don't put 100% of your money into anything. It's just like, even, I don't like my kids to be in the same car together. I mean, I'm like, that's all my eggs in one basket, I mean, you don't put all your investment eggs in one basket. You wouldn't put 100% of your money into Coca-Cola. You wouldn't put 100% of your money into AT&T. You wouldn't put your 100% of your money into anything. And people get that. So they have a more diverse portfolio, and they maybe have mutual funds, or they maybe have index funds, still equity based, still stock based. That's great, but that's not enough diversification. There are a lot of other asset classes. There's oil and gas, there's debt products, there's the newer cryptocurrencies and stuff like that. There's also you have to look at what kind of taxability, are they? Is this a tax deferred? Is this a tax free? Is this a taxable? You need to have pieces in every one of those buckets. And that's where, and the thing is, people are like probably glazing over. Their eyes are probably glazing over just hearing all this right now. I mean, because it does get a little bit geeky. But the thing is, and this is something that I stress a lot in the Women's Wealth Secrets and just in my clients in general, the shame about money. And the reason people are ashamed about it is they don't know about it. But the thing is, take that off the table, because there is no mechanism in our educational system to teach people about money. I have an MBA. I'm a CPA. I'm probably one of the most educated people you're going to run across. I mean, I've got all kinds of degrees and certifications and licenses and stuff like that. Most of what I have learned about money and finance has been through actual self-education, through reading more stuff. And so if you don't have someone holding your hand on that information, you're not going to get that. I mean, and that's why sometimes people are like, well, rich people stay rich. Well, that's because those people do know more about money, and they teach their kids about money.
Yes.
And they talk about money.
Well, and the thing, like, I'm linked up with you, you're linked up with me, you got your things that I'm always learning from you about, and vice versa. And the association is there. And I think that's just super important to, if you don't know something, finding that person that you can trust, i.e. you, and learn from them, and be like, okay, well, ask questions and know that they're not coming from a bad place, and that you can trust them with the information that they're turning over to you. And I think that's why even you and I, chosen to do business together, above and beyond our friendship. And I'm always going to patron you as much as I can, and try to send people your direction, which is another, right now, this isn't about, hey, we need to get Deborah more business. No, this is resource here. Like the reason why I
think that's something that's come out a lot. Don't you think that that's been a huge thing in this whole COVID-19 situation? How much people have been out there. I mean, I've probably been on, oh my gosh, 10 or 12 podcasts, or people have called and asked me to be on their webinar and stuff like that. I mean, totally just giving information. I mean, I don't get paid to tell people about the PPP. We're not even supposed to charge people to talk about the SBA loans and stuff like that. I mean, but the thing is, and this is, I mean, again, I'm not woo-woo. Everything that I do is about ROI, but I do think there is a certain amount of if you put it out there, it will come back to you in some way you don't really realize. It's kind of like, I am a huge proponent of networking, and I am going to get back to live networking. I am going to go back to that belly to belly.
Let's shake hands. Both you and I are big in that one. Like,
I mean, I am losing it by not being able to leave my house. But the thing is, the reason that makes sense is because there is a pouring in, if we are in a networking together and we see each other, I find that I'm making a deposit into some kind of cosmic bank account. I mean, I don't want to get all, I may not get direct direct referrals from you, but when I'm helping other people, somehow it gets paid back. Do you know what I'm saying? And you've got to just keep putting it out there.
But that is just the law of science. And just the law, it actually spills over to everything. It's not the woo woo, and it's not the woo. It's a combination of all those things that work together. It's just, you do good, you're going to get good. Your intention is good, then you get the good coming back to you. Your intention is bad, you do bad, then guess what? There's consequences, and that kind of comes around for you too as well. And so I it's so much easier for people to believe when you do bad things that bad things will come upon you. And for some reason, people find it harder to believe that the more good you do, that the good's going to come back around, which
Yes.
is comical, but it's very true. Sometimes it's not in our own timing that we would like in our own head with our own little calendars, but eventually it does come back around.
Yeah. Well, what goes around comes around is true from both the positive and the negative.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think
Absolutely.
in business especially, that's why I kind of kid around a little bit, that I always want to be the least, if I'm in a business partnership, I want to be the least integritous person there, because then I know I know that they're going to be of higher, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like if you have a bucket of water or a glass of water and you put one drop of ink in it, it's going to dirty up the whole water. So you want to make sure that I always want to make sure that it's not going to get any lower than me. And I mean, and I know I'm up there pretty high from an integrity standpoint, you know, so I don't want the water getting any dirtier than I brought into it.
Yeah, we don't need that. We ain't got time for that. We got stuff to do, girlfriend.
Exactly. Well, but the thing is, you have to be careful in business, because not everyone has good intentions. And I found that that's another thing that women do a little bit differently in business, is we do listen to our gut a little bit more than men do. We do. And if you listen well, it's usually right. Yes. If someone shows you their true colors, believe them, you know. And I think sometimes we want to mold them. We want to change them. We want to that's not really how they are. But if they show you your true colors in business, especially in a financial transaction, believe them.
That's right. That's right. And now, how can people find you? We're just going to wrap this up now. But how can people find you? What is your website? Do you have a handle? I know you're talking about is it your own podcast now too for the
yes, well, everything is everything was about ready to launch on the Women's Wealth Secrets tour and everything when this whole COVID-19 thing happened. It's still happening. We're going to do, but we did kind of put a little bit of a pause on it. And so we're just kind of waiting until we can get to live events again, because it is going to be a 10-city tour. I mean, so look out for the dates, cities and dates near you. But there's a lot of ways people can find me. They could either find me at charteraccounting.com, which is the accounting business. I also am at deborah.daniel.com, and a lot of my more business coaching, my business strategy, my speaking and stuff like that is on the deborah.daniel.com. But I also have a free gift that I can offer to your listeners if you want.
I like gifts.
Well, I have a thing called the 5 Secrets to Financial Success that just really are applicable whether you're in business or not in business. And if you go to the website Money Reimagined, which is just the word money and then REIMAN, well, imagined, I can't think right now. But we'll post it.
You put numbers, not letters.
Exactly. I mean, I got tripped up on it. I'm like, I don't want to misspell it. But Money Reimagined, just like
it'll be down there anyway.
Yeah, we'll put it in the thing. But you know, that's funny that you say that though. I used to add numbers in my head all the time, but now I'm like, why would I do that? I have a calculator. But I do have a free report there. And then also I have tons and tons of content that I put out for people. I have a YouTube channel that's about to launch. Nice. I do a thing every Monday called Money Minutes. I have all kinds of this is the kind of stuff, I mean, it embarrasses my kids, but this is my jam. I mean, this is money stuff. I just get into it. I think about it. I'm a money geek. I mean, I'm a money geek. I mean, it makes sense to me. I mean, I think in terms of this stuff. I mean, just even about this whole, everything that's going on with the stimulus package and the things that they're talking about doing. I mean, I'm awake at night thinking about how is this going to impact our economy? How are we going to pay this all back? Does this make sense? You know, and I'm sure nobody's thinking about that. They're just like, how do I get my stimulus payment? But I mean, does it make sense that people that are not being impacted get the money when really there's other people that didn't? I mean, I think about those kind of things.
Yes, and you as well, you should, because people need somebody thinking about those kinds of things that don't know what questions they should be asking. Which is again another thing, and I'm sure you're always taking on new clients and whatnot too as well. So people, I'm telling you, this is somebody that you want to get hooked up with if you need any of the resources that she has to offer. And if any of y'all know me to any certain extent and any level, if I'm referring someone and actually like being an advocate for
I got the Chauntel stamp of approval.
I mean it, stamp of approval. right on your forehead.
Woo, yes, I feel it.
So you're welcome. So yeah, so please, thank you again so much, Deborah, for doing this for me today and being able to share like all those golden nuggets and the gems in which you are just tossing out there.
Thank you. I mean, honestly, it flew by so fast. I'm like, oh my gosh, did I say anything good?
Trust me, there was a lot of good stuff. Matter of fact, people, thank God it's on YouTube and not a live or something like that. You can go back, watch it, take some notes, and please, reach out to Deborah, reach out to myself, and we're here to help you in any way we can. So until next time, everybody, I love you.